Kickback Show. What's in your cup?
A whole lot of everything, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, everybody all around the world. This is the Kickback Show, thekickbackshow.com. I go by the name of Foz, and she is...
What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Tiana Giovanna, and he is...
DJ Swivel. Anything less would be unswivelized, and she is...
Organic Blackberry. Tastes like it sound like it tastes. Y'all remember me.
There it is.
There it is. And I'm very excited because... first and foremost, I want to shout out the Voodoo Queen herself, Creole Voodoo, Simone. Always a great, friend, and we consider her family to this show. But I have to say welcome to Tonika. How are you? Good morning, all that good stuff. How's it going?
Good morning. I'm great. Thank you for inviting me here. Thank you, Simone, for organizing this. It's a great day. I'm excited.
Absolutely.
And nice meeting you guys.
It's a pleasure. The pleasure is all ours. First of all, I have to say shout out to the Marathon Clothing. You know what I'm saying?
That's right. Shout out.
Needless
to send you the Marathon.
Needless to say, from LA, from Los Angeles.
From LA. LA raised me. Mm-hmm.
There it is. I love that. And it's, what I often hear, that it's rare that individuals, especially in LA, are actually born and raised in LA. Normally you find people, I'm from New York, Detroit, Chicago, blah, 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 from other places. So it's good to find like another native that was, that's born and raised here, Yeah.
Well, the thing is, okay, I wasn't born in LA. I was born in Detroit. Okay. But my mom brought me here when I was a baby. I was 3 years old. So I don't know much of Detroit. All I know is LA. But like when your parents are from somewhere else and raised with the Detroit value, I was always awkward and weird, I feel like I have more of a Midwestern personality and, but I love LA. LA is where I rep all day because it's all I know. So
yeah.
There it is. And what they say it's not where you're from, but where you at, right? So
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, it's still.
So technically, you would consider that from Detroit because I was born there.
No, you from LA.
Yeah,
you from LA.
But you different though. You're not the same because you really have a soul that's from the East Coast. Like it's different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
you know what? I think that applies to a lot of people too, because most of our grandparents or parents are from or were born in other areas as well. So most of us kind of get that Southern or East Coast, Midwest type of essence about us because of that factor. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
a lot of us have people from New Orleans. I have people from New Orleans. Most people do that. I mean, most Black people.
Same. I love New Orleans. New Orleans, the food is bomb.
Okay.
People are cool. Like the energy is dope. Yeah, like it definitely feels like home down there. Like I don't know if I would move down there. I'm a spoiled LA kid. You know what I mean?
Sure. Yeah.
So I don't think I can live.
Well, y'all know I lived there, right? I graduated from Xavier in Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I lived there about a year and a half, and so, yep.
And let the people know what you study, because I love your bio. And it would be easy for me to be like, oh yeah, you've done blah, blah, blah. But I think it'd be great coming from you. Let the people know what you actually studied and got your credentials in.
Okay. Well, I went to school like my mama told me. She wanted me to be a doctor. And so that's all I knew. My family, I come from a line of singers. My great-grandmother, my grandmother, and my mom were singers in the church. They know how to play piano. I took lessons, but I'm not as good as my great-grandmother and grandmother. But, it was kind of like, so what in my family about singing? It was like, okay, you can sing and what? Go to school. So I did. And I actually was pre-med for about 3.5 years. And I went to DePaul University in Chicago. Now, I got accepted to that school and Xavier in Louisiana, but I wanted to go to a more diverse school. I thought, in my mind, I was young, I was like 18 years old, and I thought DePaul University would be more diverse. Come to find out, Xavier University of Louisiana is actually not just a historically Black college, but other ethnicities go there as well. It's like almost 50% Asian. So I stuck it out at DePaul University for 3.5 years, but I felt lost in a classroom full of like hundreds of people in like my chemistry classes. And I really needed that one-on-one type of thing. And I just felt like a number. So I transferred as a senior, which is not recommended. Okay. And it's not recommended.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna tell you why. Even though both were Catholic universities, one was on a semester system and the other was on a quarter system. So when I transferred over to Xavier, they were like, "Oh, you gotta start over. You gotta take some of your general biology." I fought it. I was like, "I'm not doing that." I was like, "I'm not doing that." And so they accepted, and we kind of met in the middle ground. And they just wanted me to repeat maybe a few classes, and I did, and I passed it, and I just got it out of the way. And they then wanted to add another year for me to stay in New Orleans, and I was ready to come home to LA. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna switch my major from pre-med to biology, and that's what I did because it's pretty much, it's similar. You get this, I decided I didn't want to go to medical school because the science courses that really intrigued me was like natural sciences, you know. Plant biology was like the easiest A. Like my friends was like, when we would get our tests back, they'd be like, "How did you get an A on this exam? Like, what are you doing?" But it's because like trees fascinate me, you know, the way they eat, like xylem and phloem, and just like God's creations. Like I'm such a dork when it comes to nature and God's beauty. You know, that's another reason why I can't understand racist people. And I always explain to like my other ethnic, you know, friends, like, why would you compare a sunflower to a rose? Like, it's God's created all this beauty. And, you know, needless to say, I graduated with a biology degree from Xavier University of Louisiana. And I was able to like get jobs, like I would say a year after graduating, because I graduated during the Katrina class at Xavier, which these were the students that were affected mostly during Hurricane Katrina. So it was a very emotional graduation. You know, as you guys know, that hurricane ruined a lot of people's lives, and their transcripts, some of them were lost. So people had to repeat certain classes. So it was just very emotional, you know. And then the irony in all of this, my mom's name is Katrina. I don't believe in coincidences, but isn't that weird?
Yeah.
So yeah, I graduated in 2009, and then we remember the recession. It was hard for college students to find jobs. So I had to go back to my high school job. I started working at 9 West when I was 15 years old. That was my first, well, actually Foot Action. Foot Action was the first job, and it led to 9 West eventually. And so I was working for a whole year after getting a degree at in the Beverly Center. Okay, I was working. I had 3 jobs. Let me tell you, I had to in the morning from like 4 a.m. to like 1 p.m. I would answer phones at this fitness center. Okay, this Jewish man owned. Okay, in West LA. Then I would go to the mall, Beverly Center, and I would work at 9 West. And then after that, I would leave and I would go next door to BB. I worked at BB. And I was like just working, I was just grinding because I was trying to save money.
That's the trapping part, okay. She said she was trapping.
At the same time, I was like, I was a little negative about it though. And I wish I wasn't. You know, I was negative about it because I felt like I studied, I did what I was supposed to do. Why is it so hard for me to find a job in my field? You know, a lot of us were feeling that way. I wasn't the only one. And it really didn't matter what background you had. We were all just struggling, trying to find it. And they were always choosing people that had the experience first. You know?
Yeah.
You look like you want to say something.
Oh, no. Tiana just walked down with the baby, and the baby's got a gigantic afro, looking like Imangela Davis right now.
Aw, baby. I have baby fever right now. Don't show me.
What I was gonna say. What I was gonna say real quick is that I think
look at her.
Hi.
Please take a picture. I need that picture.
Oh my gosh, she's so cute.
Can we just get her to
yeah, do it.
What were you gonna say, Swift?
I was gonna say that I think a lot of us, because you know we're college graduates as well. Like a lot of us in that time that you were saying like this isn't right. Like I paid my dues, I earned my degree. Like I should be able to be in my career, and it just it wasn't. there weren't opportunities for us there. Like,
Yes.
you know, I'm a collegiate track and field coach. Like I studied radio, TV, film. So I'm like not in because.
Well, you kind of are.
Kind of, yeah, but I know. But I mean, I got into terrestrial radio right out of college. But like immediately when I started, like I was seeing all the downsizing and you know, all of that kind of stuff. And it was just, you know, I was just too late. For the most part. So I feel your pain in terms of like, it, you know, it's like, how am I here working these, you know, few part-time jobs when I should be like.
When I paid my dues, I suffered. It was not easy getting a biology degree, man. I would get panic attacks. It was like, I had to keep up. Okay. It was very difficult. And then my last year at Xavier, I took 23 credit hours, which is like 11 science courses because they wanted me to stay another year. And I was like, I'm not doing that. Can you pack it in? And they were like, you would never pass. They didn't think I would do it. And let me tell you, I was taking like cell biology, anatomy, physiology, calculus, like organic chemistry. I was taking all the hard courses all at one time. And I was actually getting A's. And I was called out in cell biology class, like whatever these students are doing, it was me and 2 other students that formed a study group. And we would study together all the time. And we had the highest grade in the class. And he was just like, whatever they're doing, y'all need to do. And I was so proud of myself.
That's amazing.
You know,
you should have told them, you know, I am the original, right? I just,
Yeah.
you know,
That part. That's why we're the most educated demographic in the United States. Come on
we
now.
have to make it work. We don't have no excuses. I can't get out of this body and say I'm somebody else. Because when I step in the classroom and at work, I'm a Black woman. That's what they see, and that's what I am. And I have to make it work on all ends. And you know, I have done that, and I owe it all to my mom. She's a very hard worker. She moved out of her house at 17 years old, moved from, you know, wherever she was in New Orleans out here by herself in LA and made it happen. Oof. So I owe that to her because I wouldn't be here to like celebrate my music. You know, I'm glad I listened to her. I'm glad I went to school and I got a biology degree. I'm glad that I worked in corporate for 10 years. You know, only Black woman in a boardroom with all middle-aged white men. I'm glad I had that experience because that created who I am today, and I'm prepared for what lies ahead. You know,
I'm glad you
jump back.
That leads perfectly into her song. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I agree. And before we get into that, you said something. You said a lot of things that I definitely want to expound upon. But one thing that you said that I think is beautiful. Is that you can't compare a sunflower to a rose. My insight though on that is the great philosopher Andre 3000 told us that if you get close enough, you realize that roses really smell like boo-boo, and sunflowers give us poly seeds. Like you can crack them open.
Oh my God!
You put chili pots.
Well, I know where you're going with this. You know what?
Listen.
You know what?
No, but have you ever smoked a rose blunt though? You ain't lived until you smoke the rose.
Man, do y'all put rose petals in your tub? You know what I'm saying?
I'm not saying
I put rose petal powder
roses
in my conditioner.
I'm just saying roses ain't give us no seeds that I could pop on the summertime, and you know what I mean, like.
You know what?
I'm gonna have to shoot you a rose blunt.
Please do that. I think that this is to just kind of celebrate everything. Like your story is absolutely magnificent and very inspiring. I think that it is right that we do give the people a taste of this wonderful music because the song is called Queen.
Yes.
And please correct me if I'm wrong. The album is called Frequency.
But the way that you spelled it is no.
Yes, it just came in my head one day in the studio, and then everybody kept asking me, "So what's the name of the album?" And that thought just popped in my head, and he was like, "Wow, that's dope."
Amazing.
Yeah.
You know, where did these come from? Inspiration.
It really goes to show what it looks like, what happens when you when you allow yourself to go there, you know, you don't like edit yourself too much, you know, because like it's really received. Whatever you was feeling, it's received.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Thank you. And that was the intention placed on it. And I knew right away it wasn't about me. You know, it's not about Tonika. It's a bigger picture. And I'm so happy that I'm getting great feedback, you know, from everybody though. Even men like the song. I'm like, yes, that's what I'm talking about. Support your queens.
I mean, we'll get into it. Let's get into the record. Queen Tonika is in the building. This is the Kickback Show, thekickbackshow.com. Snitch.
For new and exclusive music, listen to the Kickback Show. The Kickback Show. What's in your cup?
A whole lot of everything, especially a lot of Queen talk this morning or afternoon, wherever you are around the world. The Kickback Show, thekickbackshow.com. Tonika is in the building, giving us all this Queen energy. Just so much to unpack and unload, and I just greatly appreciate your story. You mentioned something right before we went into the song, saying that you're surprised, or that that a lot of men appreciate the song. And I know myself personally, as well as Swivel, we consider ourselves feminists, I guess, for the lack of better terms, but just support women. You know what I mean? Like we love seeing Black women and women in general win, because ultimately, we put into perspective that men, clearly we have mothers and sisters, female cousins and daughters, and so on and so forth. You know what I mean? And so to see the energy that you're presenting, that really almost in a whole is kind of overwhelming the world right now when it comes to Black women getting their just due, especially with stories like yours, to where you work so hard to try to accomplish something in life, and you're in a world that's dominated by a specific group. It's great to see, you know what I mean? Because of the simple fact that it's inspiration to our mothers, daughters, wives, cousins, and so on and so forth, So I just want to commend you for setting that example and contributing to, the energy that is ultimately true to who we are as Black people,
I want to piggyback off that because I like to say this, my phrase. I've been dark skinned all my life. So, when it comes to certain positive images, I just didn't have that growing up, visually. And even words being poured you.
Oh, damn. But everything that she's saying, though, I agree with. You know, what I caught as far as, you know, growing up, like a lot of the images that we see that represent a Black woman, you know, has clearly made like a 180, and we're starting to see it on the forefront. And needless to say, it's not that didn't exist, you know, in prior times. You know what I mean? Even before we were born, we saw queens. You know what I mean? Like, ironically, we saw the Bell, you know, go head to head, and you know, we had like a lot of great female, you know, energy and that queen, you know, spirit, and that get elevated. But for it to dominate now is such an honor and a pleasure, you know, and I'm glad to see it be an inspiration to everyone, you know. So
Me
thank
too.
you. Yeah,
Thank you.
Well, but I'm piggybacking on what Brandy was saying. I'm very appreciative of the fact that we are tackling the issue of colorism within the Black community itself. Because for a long time, we almost kind of denied that it was a thing. Like, we were just like, oh yeah, it's just kind of that swept under the rug, little brother of racism. And I remember, you know, in my own family, like, I'm mixed, but on my father's side of the family, like, I have a cousin who was very dark skinned, and they like, I saw it in my family. They would always kind of like push her aside. And like, I remember my grandmother, who, you know, they're all from Louisiana, making comments about her own grandchild being ugly and little dark.
That happens in a lot of Black families.
It does. And we don't talk about it. And I didn't understand it when I was little. I was just like, how come they don't like her? You know, like, that's not nice. And I remember like playing with her and wondering what was wrong with her. And it was just sad, because as a child, you can't wrap your head around it. Like, and it hurt my heart for that to happen. But I do appreciate now. I feel like there's been a huge paradigm shift. And I think that your music is really speaking to the paradigm shift that's happening, and really kind of helping with this awakening worldwide, but especially, like I said, within the Black community. Yeah.
Oh, but not just Black. It's in the Indian community, Asian.
That's
you know,
true.
colorism is in every ethnicity. And,
That's very true.
you know, it's such a taboo topic. You know, I really appreciate you sharing your perspective, you know, as a light-skinned woman. You know, I feel so silly talking about colorism because I just wasn't raised that way. My mom, you know, was a Black woman and, you know, dark-skinned, but then she had like this wavy hair down her butt, you know? So like, she's considered beautiful, and she didn't teach me about the colorism. But my grandfather, I did think was a white man, but he just happened to be a very, very light Creole with light eyes. And he wasn't allowed to be with my grandmother because she's dark skinned. And those are the stories that I was taught, that, you know, that it was really hard for my mom because of, you know, that thing in the family where the Creole and then the dark skin is still that thing, you know. But we awaken and we grow, and me and you, we just understand that it's an illness, and, you know, we all are healing. Absolutely. We're all healing, and we will get there. So
yeah, no, I agree 100%.
Yeah.
Brandy, I want you to finish what you were saying.
Yes.
So what I was saying was, like I said, I've been dark skinned all my life. So there's never, growing up, there really was no, you could not really identify with anything. You couldn't tap into anything beyond your immediate circumstances. So the fact that I don't know where it stems from, but I know I just did some business work with someone and tapped into plants, and I know when you start getting involved in that, how that shapes you differently. So I think it's like, you know how you said there's no coincidences? I really see how it was like everything was meant to be, or like it interweaved. And that power and that fearlessness and that like positive words that you are just like affirming is just, it's so refreshing, it's so required, it's needed, it's necessary. And I just super appreciate your fearlessness, you know, because at the end of the day, I believe there's really only two types of emotions, fear and love. So it's like, it's one or the other. So I super appreciate that. I just had to say that because it was like when I watched, when I tapped into, I got the chills, and it was like really dope, and I had to let you know that.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I have to share my healing, and that's my job. When you are healing in a certain way, you have to share your gifts, and someone else can heal in the process of you healing. So we're all healing together.
That's so true. And I think, oh, go ahead, Swift.
I was gonna say, touching on what Foz mentioned earlier in terms of like us as men, Foz and I men all our lives. Like for me, I guess getting into your video that you just released, we're raising 2 daughters, and I think just like we've all kind of touched on this environment we're in 2020. This is one hell of a year. But the video specifically, I think, in terms of creating imagery for, positive Black female images, especially when just a week ago or so, like this kids twerking show on Netflix came out, this is the opposite. Your video is the opposite of that, right? And very needed. And so explain to the audience how the concept for your video kind of came together.
Well, I knew I wanted it to be all female, all women, actually I wanted different variations of ethnic women, all women really. One of the dancers I wanted was a redhead Caucasian woman, but I couldn't find one, and also a Latina or Asian. Couldn't really find one. So I wanted everyone to understand that the original woman is the Aboriginal woman and is the melanated person, and everyone comes from, it's like mother. So if you don't like a Black woman, you don't like Mother Earth. That's how I view things. And so it just turned out naturally, to be all African American women, which I loved. And the ballerinas, the little girls, I knew I wanted little girls in it, and I wanted to have it to be a sacred sexuality. That's what I kept using. I kept using a Queen of Sheba vibes, so that all the creative people around me can kind of understand what the vision was. And I let, also the executive producer, Dominique Scoggins, he had a lot of great ideas for the music video. And so, we were just always on the same page. He's the king in my life. So he was there to support me through the whole process. And he was like, this is for the queens. This is your debut. And we have to show the world that men, such as yourselves, you support your queens. You don't always have to overshadow them or have them be in the background. And what I say about women, like queens, we'll be on the side of you. We'll be behind you. We'll be before you, and a real man and a real king can uplift his queen and support her so that she's a better support to him. It's like an interchange, So I was just inspired by Queen of Sheba, basically, and I wanted to incorporate that with the goals and with the little girls dancing and being confident. I took ballet when I was a little girl and jazz dance, so it was really. We were crying. Me and the background dancers, we were so touched when we saw them in rehearsal. The little girls so happy with their new outfits on, dancing, and I was like, man, I wish I had this when I was their age, and I could look at myself on TV and be like, that's me, it would have definitely made me more confident, but I grew into my confidence, and that's why I want to share that so that other Black women, other women can tap into that queen inside of you that's there.
I think you touched on a great point, but you said that you wanted to provide that you never had that for yourself. And I think that's so important because it's incumbent upon the older generation to provide for the younger generation what they did not have. Right. And I think that we've gotten away from that. I feel like we used to do that. We used to honor our elders, and the elders would reach back and look out for us and so on and so forth. And I feel like that cycle has become convoluted, or actually I feel like that cycle has been polluted somewhere along the lines. I feel like those people who are like the younger grandparents don't really reach back. I was reading an article not long ago where we in the Black community, for some reason, we have this thing with our grandparents that will be like, oh, well, I raised my children already. You need to raise your own children.
That sounds
But
silly.
other cultures will, you know, like I have a couple of Asian friends who will physically take their children back to China or Taiwan, to wherever their parents are, and live within that culture. And their parents will literally raise the babies for like the first year or so. And then they will come back to the States and then, you know, move on and kind of do their thing. And I feel like they've got it right. Whereas I don't know what happened when it's like, I remember people growing up with their grandparents when I was little, but somewhere now, a lot of grandparents who are, like I said, the Generation X grandparents, the ones who are like the 70s, 60s, 70s, like who are like on the younger end of being grandparents are like, no, I'm gonna live my life. Go take your kids somewhere else.
I think a lot of it.
That's literally the story of my life.
I think it goes back to, I mean, this all stems from slavery. And I think from your opening introduction to yourself, Tonika, like you really kind of unraveled a lot of it, but it all stems from that. And what I mean by that is you talking about your connection with chemistry and biology and how it just was natural. And it's like, that's us as Black people. Our original nature was being connected to nature. And the closer you get to nature, the more we understand about ourselves, because that's where we came from. And then colorism came from slavery. We didn't exist in that space until they brought the fair skins in the house, gave them better treatment, and we see that mentality, you know, kind of overflow into today's society, right? Even with the grandparents, I agree, Tiana, like I grew up around my grandparents and, you know, they were around. Now it's like everything is scattered. And I think a lot of that has to deal with today's society kind of breaking that up to where we're not dwelling in that it takes a village type of, you know, mentality. You know, and granted, yes, there are rare occasions where that does exist, but I think as a whole, you know, we've gotten away from, hey, let's all be a village that looks after one another, that kind of helps raise our kids so that they're successful in the same way that other cultures are still continuously doing it, you know.
I think that is new. I think that is getting back in style, though. You know, like I wasn't raised on none of that either, but I'm heavily tapped into all of that now, like very, you know, super serious about it. And everyone around me is also. And I think that is something that's coming back.
I agree.
I almost like, well, because we're seeing like a whole new awakening, if you will, of the younger generation. So I think this younger generation is like, hey, like, you know, we're seeing that things are being lost, like Tiana mentioned. And so we're keying in on that and saying we need to bring that back.
Yeah.
Tonika, do you feel as though that, you know, that your journey, was it a conscious effort for you to take your experiences and at least what you've shared with us so far to interweave that within your music, or do you feel like it was just like, you know, kismet, to where it's just like it was just an inevitable thing?
I would say inevitable. But as far as singing, I've always sang. Did I want to entertain people with my voice? No, that wasn't always the case. But what inspired me to want to go public is working in corporate, being 24 years old and, you know, the way I was seen and treated. I knew then I wanted to sing, and I made a decision then that I was going to pursue singing seriously. The thing is, when you're into the sciences, it's very demanding, and you're using a whole side of your brain that is not creativity. It's very technical. Right. So I was working and I was snailing it because I was giving my all, you know, to this industry, because that's the industry that was paying my bills and, you know, allowing me to even, you know, book studio time to do demos or, you know, pay a vocal coach, you know, to go see. So I'm glad I stayed there because it helped me with the content of what I need to be singing about. You know, this is the real world. And I always say that when there's a micro problem, there's a macro problem. Right. And the root cause analysis is the same on both levels. So I I got inspired by all the pain, all the suffering that I had endured. And, you know, I have good experience and I got great opportunities in biomedical engineering. Don't get me wrong. I had high positions. I was the senior quality engineer at Amgen. I was a quality manager. I got flown out to companies, a company in Boston to help them pass audits, you know, and it's just when you are a Black woman, if you're a woman in general, you know, and you're telling someone that is twice your age that they made a mistake on something and they've been engineering like your whole life, they're not going to be very receptive to that, you know, and I had to learn how to maneuver through obstacles. And that in turn is inspired me for my music, because when I was driving to work, yeah, I would listen to gospel music, but I also wanted to hear the music that I recorded to help me get stronger and to be able to handle what I was putting myself into. You know, I'm not going to get into the politics of corporate, but I'm pretty sure you have an idea. And the songs, I actually recorded 3 songs before this album that was like Stay in Your Lane, Never Ever Again, and they were more like aggressive songs. You know, for whatever reasons, I didn't put them on this album, but this album, I wanted everyone to feel good. That was my intention. Like, I wanted to tap into that strength. I wanted to tap into that feeling of being like, oh yeah, I feel this. I can feel this every day. And you listen to this song before you get in the office, before you, you know, go in any situation where you have to tap into that power in yourself. And I wanted to be a part of that. I know it's a lot of great music out there, but I wanted to be involved in that movement of, you know, just self-enlightenment and really just knowing who you are and getting certain things stuck in your head and remembering that, you know. Queen, you know, Can't Mess Up My Vibe. It's a lot of tracks on the album that are all tied together in finding that within yourself.
I also want to highlight the spelling of the album, Free, F-R-E-E, Queen, Q-U-E-E-N, and then C-Y, which I find to be extremely powerful within itself, in addition to everything that you're saying as well, you know.
Absolutely. It was about freeing the queen within you, because we live this life where it may appear that you're being pigeonholed, like you are a prisoner and you're not actually making the choice to do right. You're being forced to do things. I believe that our natural state of being is wanting to do the right thing.
Oh yeah.
Where did you come from? Like, I'm all like, where do you come from? No, but where did you come? Where did that come from? Like, where did you, because I mean, my thing, I think I was so thirsty for tapping into something that was of me, because I just kept searching. It was like nothing felt like it came from us originally. So that's what led me to where it led me. Where did you get all of this power? Where did you tap? Like, was you raised on it? Like, what is this? Who are you?
That's a good question. You know what? It's a long story, but I will say this, that it was a period of my life for 3 years where I cut off the TV and the radio. And I started studying. I don't want to say the religion I was studying, because people get so focused on the religion where they kind of miss the message. So I was studying.
Now I want to know.
Okay, I'll just tell you. First of all, I was born Christian in Jesus' name, okay? But I started studying Judaism, okay? And it's because I had an experience, you know, a point in my life where I felt like God was trying to get my attention, so to speak, right? I know a lot of people have that. And so what I decided to do was start studying, not just Judaism, and then that led into like sacred geometry, and then that led into, so I was just studying everything, and I was just like, wait a minute, I know who I am, because I put things together. I put 2 and 2 together. So even my grandmother is an evangelist and a pastor. She never even, you know, was upset at me for studying Judaism. She was actually quite proud of me for doing that, because she knew it would lead me to where I needed to go. And actually that inspired me for a lot of my writing, you know. And I guess that would answer your question in a shorter term.
Okay.
I think that's amazing.
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. And it's funny that you say people would get caught up on the religion. I think it's very sad that people do get caught up on things like that, when it's like there's truth in all religions.
Yes.
You know, God is not going to let a whole swath of people just, just
Yes.
study all the wrong things. I mean, because we're
Wow.
talking, millions and millions of people over eons of time studying, certain things. And that's what kills me. I think everyone should take a class on the religions of the world.
Thank you.
Just,
I
all
agree
of them.
100%.
Yeah.
It will make the world a better place
It's
because if
so
you understood
good.
why people do things,
Yeah.
then it would be so beautiful to you. It would be so beautiful, and you would be like, now I understand why they do this. Now I understand. Now I can be more respectful to the things that they do to help them be a better person.
Yeah.
Well,
You
but
know?
not only that, I think that if people did that, they would see that the religions are more alike than they are
Yes.
different.
Yep.
And people would understand, oh, wait, I do that too. Oh, like they can see themselves
Yeah.
in people.
I do that too, but in a different way, or I do it this way to get
Yeah,
here.
exactly. And a lot of people don't realize a lot of the symbolism and things like that are in, so many different religions. It's the same, like the evil eye, for instance. It's the same
Yeah.
symbolism. You can find it in Judaism. You can find it in Christianity. You can find
I
it
wear
in
that
Buddhism.
around my neck mostly. Mhm.
And a lot of people have no idea. A lot of Christians have no idea that you can find the evil eye in Christianity. And
Yep.
so they're very quick to kind of distance themselves.
Judge.
No, if you knew the history of your own religion.
Mhm.
It's bad when
Yeah.
there's multiple forms of Christianity that, kind of bump heads as far as, theories and ideologies go. Like,
Same with Judaism. Same with
Yeah.
Judaism. People, and I correct people all the time because I studied it, and I'm like, that there's different levels of Judaism.
Mhm.
Like you can't put all Ashkenazi Jews are not the only Jews. There's Black Jews. There's Asian Jews,
There's Hasidic.
Hispanic Jews.
Yeah.
Yeah. Conservative, reform, ultra conservative.
Orthodox.
Orthodox.
Tiana, you said evil eye. Are you talking about the eye of Horus?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called different things across the
Right.
board, but it's the same symbol.
And what I've grown, because to kind of add on to the conversation, my dad was on his way to become a bishop out here at First Jurisdiction, coaching in LA, right? And I've gotten and grown to the point where I've denounced religion altogether and have aligned myself with spirituality. And to add on to what you ladies are saying, I think it's exactly that. If we get away from what kind of binds people within a particular lifestyle and get to the principles of it, of what you believe, which again across the board is love one another. If you love one another, everything else becomes obsolete, because that means that I'm going to do right by you.
Yes.
I'm not going to do you any harm. I'm going to respect you. All of those things are all encompassing, and there's absolute truth within just that statement alone. And you're right. I mean, I feel as though that if people kind of experience other people where they are in spirituality, then I think things will kind of go a little bit more smooth. So, yeah, I appreciate this album, man, and your existence.
So much.
Yeah,
Thank
this
you.
is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. I think it's only right. Let's play. Can we play something else from the album?
Sure. We did a poll to see which music video I should do first. And everybody said Queen first, but their second favorite was Hard, and it was tied. So Hard was tied with Can't Mess Up My Vibe. I get a lot of feedback. They're like, do a video for Hard, do a video for Can't Mess Up My Vibe. So you guys can choose between those two. What you think should be what you should think the second single should be. Excuse me.
There it is. Swivel, what you say? Should
I
we play
was
both?
going to say
Hard.
maybe Can't Mess Up My Vibe, because I think
Hard.
A lot of people can relate to that right now.
yeah.
That's right. It's
Now-
hard. It's a
now-
lot of distractions out here.
Real talk. Before we get into it, is there a place where the listeners can actually vote for which single that they want the next visual to come from?
Well, the easiest way to do that is to go on my Instagram, Queen Tonika, and DM me and let me know. Just shoot me a message and say, hey, I listened to your album and I think you should do visuals for this one.
That's it. Frequency out right now. Tonika is in the building. This is the Kickback Show, the kickbackshow.com. Kickback Show University. I stay woke.
100%.
DJ Swivel, go ahead and spin that, bro.
You can't mess up my vibe. 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 Throw your shade out of space, far away. I'll be out of reach, no effect to me. Stay away for your sake. Just wanna live out my life. No one can dim down my life. As long as I'm breathing, galaxies I'll be reaching. You can't mess up my vibe. 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 The Kickback Show. What's in your cup?
A whole lot of everything right now. Queen Talk, Queen Tonika in the building. Frequency out right now. Please let everyone know where they can find the album, how they can keep up with you, all that.
Yes. Follow me on Instagram, Queen Tonika. There you can find a link to my album. You can find it on Spotify, on YouTube, on Apple Music, Tidal, iTunes, and on my Instagram, I'm going to be posting videos, pictures, and interact with the audience. And really, I want to hear from my fans. DM me anytime. Let me know what you think of the album. Let me know what you think of the visuals. We're working on more visuals right now. Hopefully, this Corona thing will clear up and I can start meeting people in person. I miss interactions with people.
Yeah.
Yes, because I'm ready. I've been training every day. And, you know, when you stay ready, it's all
gotta
good.
get ready.
So you don't got to get ready. So
Like that.
just stay tuned.
Well, was that supposed to be an outro? Because I want to ask you a couple questions.
Yeah, no, you good.
All right, cool.
No,
I just
fine,
wanted to
no.
know, you intertwine so many different genres, like where, because it's interesting. So can you walk me through that? Like, you don't choose, like, how
So
is it?
what you're saying is the diversity of the album. It's kind of like hard to see what kind of lane I belong in, which was intentional, because this whole career everybody's been asking me, so what kind of music? That's what people love to ask. And music is it's everything. It's life. It's a story, which is He Wanted Me as a story of something that happened to me 7 years ago when I wrote that song.
Wow.
And, Rise Above is when I hit my rock bottom. Everybody has their own version of rock bottom. And a song I wrote when I felt like I had nothing and nobody. And I wrote that song. And now I feel like I may not need that song, but maybe somebody else does. And, it was a favorite from those that are going through, that need that. Temporary as well. People, when they want to go through, Temporary is a song that people can relate to. Anybody can relate to, really. It's about truth. It's rooted in truth. And and then Queen, that's my own liberation that I know that every woman can relate to, though. And every man can relate to, because every man wants a queen. Every man needs a queen, whether it's his mom, whether it's his, sister, his woman. You cannot survive and thrive in this world without a strong woman. And that's what that song is about. And Can't Mess Up My Vibe. Everybody can relate to that. When you're in your lane, when you're focused on your goals in your life, and you have people that want to tell you what you can and cannot do, when you know in your heart and in your soul that you're meant to do something, you just sing that song and you feel strong. That's the whole intention with that song. And I listen to it almost every day myself.
As you should.
Yeah, for sure. I love that you're a fan of yourself. I love that you're a fan of what you're putting out. Well, because there are some people, and I'll be honest with you, it's some people that we've interviewed and they've been like, oh yeah, that song's all right. And it's like, what do you mean? It's all right. You better light yourself up.
Right.
I mean,
I have a question though.
right?
My
Like,
bad.
I love that you are really, like, you are a fan of what you are putting out. Because
You
that
have to be genuine.
It's
To be
more real than
genuine.
you realize.
When you say that every man needs a queen, can you unpack that? Like, does she have to know that she's a queen? I mean, we all know that she's a queen, but does she have to be tapped into that queenness? Like,
That's a good question. It's in your benefit to know that you're a queen. It's a journey. You know, every day it's a journey. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not always queen. But the thing is, because I'm like, wait, Tonika, like I check myself on a daily. So what I'm saying is that she doesn't need to know that she's a queen, because every woman, every nurturing woman, a woman in your life that you admire, that you see on TV, that maybe you don't even know them personally. It's all an interaction of growth. And I do believe that's what I believe. Now, if a man believes he can live this life without a woman at all, I personally believe that he has issues.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's true. Whether you have issues or not, I love you, because I've had them too myself.
right.
So what I'm saying is that, yeah, whether you know you're a queen or not, I believe that, you know, you'll get there. I mean, I can't speak on that really, because I feel like that's a personal process with God. Every woman and their process in God and knowing their strength as a woman. So, I mean, every situation is different. So when you say, like, does she have to know if she's a queen? It's kind of like, well, maybe, yeah, she does have to know she's a queen. She does have to know that.
That's my real question. Like you said, every man needs a queen. Does she need to know that she's a queen, or can she just be an awesome woman and not know that part? Like, because, you know, when you start calling yourself a queen, a goddess,
well, a queen is an awesome woman.
You tapping in. No, I get that, but, you know, I just feel like when you tap into yourself, there's like a level that you to step up,
like you
a
leveled
level
up.
Just like of like the knowing and the inner self and being sound and all that.
You mean like your confidence?
Well,
no,
it's really everything. The queen is there, right? And like I said, because everybody has two sides, and I always say it's always two different kind of people, really. You know, you have your lighter self, where you're, you know, you want to have great intentions and you're operating within your highest self, and it's the opposite of that. Just like the poles, right? You have negative and positive. So, you know, when a woman is, you know, not feeling herself, I know a lot of women can relate to that, when you're just not feeling yourself that day. It doesn't mean that you're not queen, you know, but when a woman knows who she is, it is more helpful to any man in her life, let alone anybody else in your life. It's better for them. You're a better person to people, you know, you're a better person to yourself. You know how to take self-care. You know, I hope that answers your question, but
I think a woman
does.
Bars.
Like, you can't
add on?
Yeah.
In any way. Like, if you don't know who you are and you're empty in that, you can't show anyone else who they are. If you are not practicing self-care and you're like busting your butt and you're like, what, at the end of the day, what do you have left to give? Yeah.
What were you gonna say?
As a man, like, I greatly appreciate that question, and I find it to be exactly what Tonika said, to where it's about the journey and the expectations and the level of accountability that you hold for yourself. So the queen is always there. It's just a matter of how do you arrive to your destination. It's always going to be a journey, ups and downs, all of that. But then do you give up? Do you not allow yourself an opportunity to grow? Do you give in to the negativity? Do you allow something to deter you away from your journey and your destination of this higher self? And the higher self is always like, it's always going to be a journey. You'll never fully reach that full potential, but then it's a matter of what do you do along that journey of getting and attaining that information? You know what I mean? And when it comes to having a partner, feeding yourself. And when it comes to having a partner, it should be a man adding a woman to his journey. And likewise, a woman already being on this journey and adding something that's going to complement that and help progress towards that higher self. And so it's, and you know, I just feel that the journey to higher self, regardless of whether or not you incorporate somebody with that, it doesn't diminish you being a queen or being a king, you know, and then clearly in this case being a queen. So I just want to say that I greatly admire you bringing this type of conversation to the forefront. And I'm glad that it is something that is, it sounds bad to say that it's trendy right now, but I'm glad that there are more Black men and women that are becoming more aware of who they truly are and getting in tune with themselves and being open to the information, being open to, you know, a new way of living and kind of getting back to essentially who we are as kings and queens and goddesses, and embracing the masculine and feminine energy as a whole, and really just thriving, especially during this day and age and this time that we're living in. I feel like it's more important than anything, but I greatly appreciate your contribution in furthering that, you know what I mean, for the next generations and those to come, you know. So
absolutely, that's my job, a job of service. I've always wanted a job of service, and this is what I feel it is.
Yeah.
That was well said, Paz.
Yes.
Say that again.
I said that was well said. I agree with 100%.
Listen, I mean, and the thing is, you know, again, I always take the stand on supporting women, especially Black women, which, you know, as far as like my friends and I, we like to take opportunities to highlight that, so that Black women know that there are, despite what you see in the media or on the news, there are Black men out here that support you, we stand behind you, and we want to see you thrive, you know. And I think it goes both ways, to where, you know, the cliche saying is, behind every, you know, great man is, and for me, it's either she's beside or in front of, you know. There is no behind. Like, you don't put a Black woman behind you, you know what I mean? Like, the support system comes from the side, or you stand behind her and allow her to lead as well, you know what I mean? And so, you know, trying to break up a lot of the misconceptions when it comes to this.
The only time a Black woman will be behind you is if she's protecting your backside, watching the eyes. She's your eyes in the back of you, you know?
Or if you need to step and intercede in protecting her from any type of threat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Other than that, then it's like, you know, you put the Black woman, you allow, and that's how I was raised. Like, you know, my uncles and, you know, and my dad was like, you know, you allow the woman to go in first. You open the door for her.
Yeah, I love that.
Walk in front of you. You know what I mean? Like, you don't walk in front of a woman. You know what I mean? And, you know, yeah, it's a lot of rules and principles that I feel like need to come back and be normalized in a sense.
Yes,
you know,
in our culture and in our family. So
absolutely.
That's what it's all about.
Yeah. So again, thank you for an incredible interview. Thank you for the visuals and the incredible music, the incredible story that you have provided. I want to encourage everyone to please support her. Please let them know about your socials and where they can keep up with you once again.
Yes, go to my channel on YouTube, subscribe there, like my music video if you haven't already. That definitely helps. Go to my Instagram, follow me, Queen Tonika on Instagram. DM me anything that you have to say. I love to hear feedback. And also you can find my album on iTunes, Apple Music Tidal, Spotify, and YouTube. You can also follow me on Twitter, Queen Tonika.
What's your YouTube handle?
What was that?
The YouTube handle? Like, is it Queen Tonika as well, or?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So all you have to do, you can type in Tonika Queen music video. Tonika Queen, it should come up, and then just subscribe there.
Fantastic.
Yes, thank you guys so much. It was great meeting you and, you know, speaking with you and opening up about my journey. I really appreciate it.
We super appreciate you. I mean, I'm gonna double back and just say, seriously serious.
Okay.
Man, you are so appreciated. You're like a breath of fresh air. Just seeing somebody living their truth and their power and not be loud. I'm a loud motherfucker, but you're not loud about it. You just like, you know, like, I'm of service. And it's like, it's bomb. It's bomb. Love it. You everything, for real.
Thank you. Likewise, back at you. And thank you so much for the feedback. It definitely inspires me to write more. I can't wait to get back in the studio.
I love it. Yes.
And this is your home. We extend this to everybody. Like, you a family. So when you do produce new music, or if you have something else you're working on, something that you want to share, or if you just want to come back on and just speak your mind and whatever. The Kickback Show is your home. Please come back through. Open door policy, all of that. You have 100% of our support.
Thank you. I appreciate it, and I will be back.
Yes.
The visuals, send them so we can post them and all that.
Okay, will do.
We forgot an important question for LA native.
Yes.
Lakers fan or Clippers fan?
Oh man, I'm a Lakers fan.
Okay.
Just
I love the Clippers too, but I'm a Lakers fan.
Otherwise, if you're gonna say Clippers, we'd have to cancel the whole interview. Like, grab it.
Like that.
I'm a Lakers fan. I love the Clippers too now. I don't know why I gotta choose between the two, but
Yeah, I'm LA fan, but Lakers priority. If the Lakers ain't playing or they're not in the running,
then it's Clippers.
Then it's Clippers.
All day. Absolutely.
Right.
Although
Hard too.
Clippers they're about to go to Game 7, I guess. So it might be a wrap for the Clippers.
Uh-oh.
Well, listen, you said you don't know why you had to choose between the two. I mean, look, some people want an A as a grade. Some people strive for that D plus. You know what I'm saying?
What are you talking about? We're about
no,
to
nobody,
do
no, nobody want a D. I don't want no D.
That's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, and here's the thing: do you want to go on your 17th championship, or do you want to struggle with barely getting into the Western Conference Finals? Is all I'm saying. Roses and sunflowers.
Come on, man.
They're both beautiful. They're both beautiful. But do you want policies, or do you just want something you can get off the side of the freeway? I'm saying there's levels to it. It's levels. No, in all seriousness, great answer. First of all, long live the Lakers. Glad to see that they're doing great things. But yeah, thank you once again. As usual, this is the Kickback Show, thekickbackshow.com. Follow us on everything at the Kickback Show. I go by Files. My handle is Wavecap Johnny, and she is
Organic Blackberry. Tastes like it sound like it tastes. She
is Tiana Giovanna across the board on everything, and he is
DJ Swivel on Twitter and Swivel on Instagram. SWIVLL.
Queen Tonika, thank you once again. I think it's only right that we exit out of here by playing Queen one more time, and yeah. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Until next time.
Peace.
Don't miss a beat. Kick that beat. Follow us on social media at The Kickback Show. Kickback on everything.